Ready or not, the information superhighway is coming. But few really know what it is or how to use it.
It's one big network of computers.
I use it all the time at school.
It's too new for me to really be able to completely understand.
First, you take a little NDIS over IPX, mix in a little TCP/IP, throw that together with some Run DMC and some NAACP, kind of shake it all together, and you got yourself a superhighway.
I think the information superhighway is something that works with modems and a big computer system that I know you can access through the university.
Isn't that how Al Gore gets to work?
Basically, it's the transfer of information electronically to everyone.
It's a communications network to go around the world.
Information superhighway? It's the internet, man.
The information superhighway is certainly all of this and more. Its ever-changing nature will surprise and amaze you. Today, the most visible component of the information superhighway is the Internet. Learning the key to its navigation will unlock a door to the world. Hello, my name is Jim Sissel, and I'll be your narrator, instructor, guru, and travel guide as we explore the procedures necessary to access and navigate the Internet. Until recently, Internet access was restricted to scientists, academics, and researchers. Its original intent was to serve as a tool for sharing information and to study how communications could be maintained in the event of a nuclear attack. Developed in 1969, connecting a handful of computers, it has grown to include thousands of computer networks with an estimated 20 million users. Current estimates are that this number will grow to over 100 million users by 1998. Access to this resource has only recently become possible to the small business or home PC user with the advent of dial-up internet service providers. This ability to connect via modem, coupled with new software which provides easy-to-use graphical interfaces in place of complex command structures, has made it feasible for anyone to surf the net in no time at all. First, let me give you a brief overview of what the Internet is and how it works. From a very basic standpoint, you begin with a single computer, which communicates via file and information transfer to another computer, creating a simple network of two computers. The number of nodes or individual computers, printers, and other electronic components in a network determines its size. When several computers are connected to each other in a confined space, it's known as a local area network. A much larger network of computers and peripherals spread out over a larger area is sometimes referred to as a wide area network. Well, what if all of these networks were able to speak to each other from across the globe? In a fashion, that's what the Internet and the information superhighway represents. The Internet is an internetwork of many computer networks that communicate using an established set of conventions that determine how data will be exchanged. A protocol standardizing these conventions for Internet use is called TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. You can view this as the common language which allows one computer to communicate with the other. The backbone of this network connects many supercomputer centers around the country. Mid-level networks connect this to the backbone, while other smaller networks connect to the mid-level networks, and so on. These connections can be made in any number of fashions. Dial-up phone lines, leased lines, microwave, radio, and satellite are used in conjunction with routers that determine the best route for network communications. Finally, an addressing system is required to locate the correct destination while being easy to remember and not too lengthy. The domain name system assigns particular names to computers and networks. An Internet address begins with the user or a mailbox at a user site, followed by a computer name, followed by the name of the network the computer connects to. My address, for example, is jim@interserve.com. There are many other technical aspects, some of which we will discuss later, but much of which you won't need at this point to begin your navigation of the Internet. We intend to provide you with a step-by-step guide to using basic Internet applications and hopefully answer many of your questions along the way. From home and business computers, Internet users access public and university libraries, government databases, the Library of Congress, cooking recipes, NASA satellite photos, hobby tips, Shakespeare, Dante, and the British Museum in London, to name just a few. Jumping from one to the other can take only seconds, with a staggering number of resources available. In order to follow along and duplicate the procedures we will demonstrate, it will be necessary for you to have at least a 386 or better PC, a telephone line, a fast modem, preferably 9600 or 14,400 bits per second, and Windows version 3.1 or higher. Also, you will need to subscribe to a service provider for phone line access. But keep in mind, access procedures may differ depending on the provider. Internet access has traditionally involved a series of Unix-based commands. We will show only a few instances of its use, and instead present a Windows-based software product which greatly simplifies the procedures and uses a graphical interface for most command functions. The way this software operates in relation to its service provider differs from many other commercial Internet connections. Where other commercial providers have TCP/IP running on their computer to which you dial into, this software package actually includes TCP/IP that runs on your computer. This difference can be important because it allows you to access and utilize tools, otherwise programs known as clients, which a commercial provider may not run on its own computer. You can also save files directly to your computer without the intermediate step of saving to the commercial provider's computer first. These client programs request information from servers, which are programs running on other computers. The Internet can be accessed in many ways, but for purposes of exactly duplicating our procedures, we will give this software product a plug. It's called Internet in a Box by Spry Incorporated, located in Seattle. As its name implies, it includes the essential tools you'll need to successfully navigate the net, and then some. Email is by far the greatest used application over the Internet. In its early days, it was considered an insignificant add-on, but it has proved to be a very useful tool indeed. Its advantages are many and include almost instant delivery of messages to nearly anywhere in the world, with replies often received the same day. A message overseas costs nothing beyond my subscriber fee and access time charge. You'll wonder how you ever got along without it, as you develop relationships with people the world over. Users of other commercial services such as CompuServe, America Online, etc. are available for email correspondence using Internet connectivity as well. Let's get started by demonstrating Internet email communication. The first and most obvious is sending a message to another Internet user whose address we already know. I've chosen a friend of mine, Per Reinhall, who is a professor at the University of Washington here in Seattle. Keep in mind that it would be no more difficult to send this message to UCLA, or for that matter, a university in Paris, than it is to send it locally. We will begin by double-clicking the Air Series icon on our screen to activate the group. Next, we'll click on to Air Mail. The screen prompts us to enter host, username, and password. We enter this information and click OK. We then see a list of messages, which we won't read, and click the Compose icon. In the Compose Mail screen, we enter the email address of the person receiving the message, subject, and CC if appropriate. By entering an email address of the CC addressee, the program automatically sends to them as well. You then merely type the body of your message and click the Send button, and that's it. I've entered the following text. This is a test email session. We will be over at 10 a.m. on Monday to film receipt of this mail communication and have you discuss your internet use. Thanks for your help. The University of Washington maintains a computer network where thousands of individual users communicate, process, and access information in databases. At the Department of Engineering, Per has been using email, file transfer protocol, Telnet, and other tools in the Internet since 1987. His screens will appear different from our screens in that they are text-based screens from a different operating system. This only serves to point out that information can be exchanged on several different platforms. So while I may have the Air series, I am not limited in my ability to communicate with Per, or for that matter, anyone in the world.
I began using email extensively back in 1990. And as you can see here, I just received email from Jim Sissel. Email has really changed my life. I do most of my, I would say, all my communication using email. And I communicate with colleagues around the world and do major projects using email. And it's extremely convenient since it becomes rather transparent where they are. I'm currently working on an interesting project with a colleague back in New Delhi, India, and we have found it extremely useful to use email in our communications. It frees me up. I can send him an email without worrying about the time difference, and he can do a similar thing. And we found it that we communicate much better using email than phone, for example.
When compared to other normal communication modes, it's no wonder email enjoys such an addictive following. Whether you're sending a message to a friend or a large group, the speed and efficiency of email and the versatility of a Windows-based mail software will make the management of mail files in their organization simple. At this point, an overview might be helpful in order to understand the relations between the various applications, protocols, and search and discovery tools we will discuss. If your eyes gloss over as you listen to this, you may need to go back to it at the conclusion of the video, at which time it may make more sense. If you don't follow it at all, don't worry. We still have enough of the nuts and bolts we will present to you to allow you to perform most tasks, even if you don't understand what's going on behind the scenes. Until recently, most activities related to the Internet were performed using three basic applications. The first, which we have already touched on, is email. The second involves the moving of files or programs from one computer site to another, most likely yours, and is called File Transfer Protocol, or FTP. Many of the remote computers on the Internet make available files to the public which can be accessed using a procedure called anonymous FTP. The third is called Telnet, where you actually log on to a remote computer using your computer as a terminal to the remote computer working on an interactive basis. To demonstrate these two well-established protocols, we'll once again visit Dr. Reinhall, who will show us educational and research-based locations where he commonly uses FTP and Telnet to remove and examine data.
I'm a professor at Mechanical Engineering Department, University of Washington. And about 60% of my work involves research. And as part of this research, it's information gathering. And I found Telnet and FTP an invaluable tool in gathering this information. Using FTP is extremely simple. All you need to do is you log into the other computer site by typing FTP and giving the full address of the other system. Once you're into the system, you select the file that you want to transfer by using, for me, a command called get this file, and once I type get, the file is automatically transferred to my computer. A typical application for me using FTP would be to transfer a large file, text file, program, or a picture from some other remote sites. It could be from a different country, or a different city, or from a different department within University of Washington. Having used it now for several years, I can't really see how I can be without it. It's an invaluable tool and saves me a lot of time. Of the files that I transfer, there are essentially two categories. One category file you need clearance to transfer. Another larger class of files available you can obtain using something called anonymous FTP. And those files are open for the general public, and you do not need to use any username or password to transfer these files. Telnet is another useful tool. It allows me to log in to another computer, in contrast to FTP, which allows me to transfer files back and forth. I actually log into the remote computer by first typing telnet, and then I specify the address of the remote site. And that connects me to that computer, and then next thing I do is to type my username, and then I specify my password. And once I've done that, I now log into the computer, and I can use the foreign computer as my own. Typically what I use Telnet for is to log into a range of different computers at one time, have several windows up on my screen, and run programs simultaneously. And I can then interact between the different computers while the programs are running. Another, maybe more straightforward use of Telnet is to log into a library database, which I do regularly. It saves me a tremendous amount of time. I typically used to send students to search the libraries, and it could take them several months, even years, to get enough information to conduct research. Now I can do it in a few minutes. It's great.
The vast pool of information available over the internet has led to the development of other useful tools to assist you in locating and accessing specific data. Depending on the task at hand, one tool may work better than another to help you in accomplishing your goal. You may, for example, have a specific file whose name you know, but whose location you don't. On the other hand, you may have a subject you need to research with no idea what or where related information might be. Or you might just want to browse. With that in mind, let's discuss some of the most used tools. If you've heard of any one of these, the one most likely to have caught your attention is Gopher, if for no other reason than it's a strange name. This popular protocol has simplified internet search techniques by providing a menu-driven interface that organizes information in a seemingly endless branching of sub-menus. All the while, more complicated tasks, such as Telnet, are operating behind Gopher simply by making menu selections. With that in mind, let's take a look at how Jill Lindemann, an investment consultant, puts Gopher to work. In speaking with Jill, I learned of her forced initiation to the internet and communicating with clients using email. One thing led to the other, and soon she was using many of its more elaborate features, including Gopher.
One of my everyday duties is to check certain information banks for breaking news which might affect the market or individual stock issues. Let me show you a search I did some time ago which resulted in a location on the internet which I refer to weekly. White House press releases can have effects on the market, and reading the paper only to find this information just doesn't allow you to follow the progression of policy as it unfolds. So, this chronological listing of press announcements I find very useful, and I originally found it in this manner. First, I click on the Air Gopher icon. I then click on the Search Gopher space with Veronica menu selection. I then am asked for keywords to search, and I enter the White House. I'm then presented with the following Gopher menu from which I choose White House press releases. I'm then presented with a chronological listing of the most recent press releases from which I can choose and retrieve. Here's one on healthcare. As another example, I have an interest in mining stocks, and I like to keep up on the recent news and information relating to it, which might affect clients' investment strategies. Oh, well, one place I might go is to the University of Texas server and search Gopher Space with Veronica. I select mining as my keyword, and within seconds I have numerous articles which may provide me with information that I might never have gotten through simply reading publications. Take a look at this. Here's a good example.
Gopher menus can lead to other tools such as Archie, and as you've just seen, Veronica. Yes, strange names indeed. Archie is a retrieval tool that searches anonymous FTP sites for either a specific file or for files that contain certain designated keywords in cases where you don't know an exact file name. Veronica is to Gopher what Archie is to FTP. In other words, it does keyword searches of Gopher titles. While you can get to Archie through Gopher, you must get to Veronica through Gopher. Although Gopher can get specific pretty fast through menu and submenu selection, it can still be time-consuming, and you would not find all the information paging through Gopher as Veronica would in Gopher Space. Are you still with me? Okay. The WACE protocol allows you, in simple English, to search online text for keywords or strings of words. There are hundreds of WACE servers to choose from to perform your specific searches. The WACE protocol will search all documents within the database for the keywords and present to you a list, in descending order, of text files where the keywords most often appeared. You can then choose from the list titles that sound most relevant and view them. Or you can revise your keywords to better define your search and retry. WACE resources are accessible through Gopher or World Wide Web. Connor Phillips, a 5th grader, uses the internet as a world library to help him complete homework assignments and for fun. He'll demonstrate for us how he put the internet to use to complete a class project using WACE to locate text and graphic documents.
Right now at school, we're learning about Greek mythology. I'm supposed to write this report on Poseidon, so I thought I'd look it up on the computer. I could have looked it up in our encyclopedias, but everyone's doing that. Besides, this is better and more fun. I found something. It's pretty cool, and here's where I got it. I found it through this WACE server. What I can do here is download this graphics file. And although this doesn't tell me anymore, I can add this picture to my report. Oh yeah, I was looking around for information on fossils and stuff, and I found information on archaeology and the study of humans. No pictures, but I'll keep looking. There's always new stuff getting posted.
And finally, the most fascinating way, in my opinion, for exploring the internet, one which can link all the others, is called World Wide Web. With it, hypertext links are provided to travel the internet. Its front-end browsing component, called Mosaic, allows you to view all types of media and text, graphics, sound, and even video. Hypertext links provide hotspots on your screen, either highlighted text areas or graphic elements to click on and transfer to other parts of a document, or to entirely different locations on the internet. World Wide Web and Mosaic are fast becoming the heart and soul of internet activity as it relates to business and commerce. Andrew Fry, Director of Multimedia Productions with Free Range Media Incorporated and builder of World Wide Web hyperlink documentation, will take you through its workings and some more interesting World Wide Web documentation examples.
To introduce my discussion of the World Wide Web, I should explain how to get started. First, you'll need the software to read web documentation, and there are a number of these browsing tools available. For me, it's as simple as clicking on the Mosaic icon, which is the most popular front-end graphical browsing tool. Currently, I'm working on web documentation for one of our customers who wants to establish a presence on the net. I've created a hierarchy document which helps me manage links from one media source to the next, the links being identified by specific codes within the text-based document. These links can be to more text, images, sound files, locally or on servers halfway around the world. By creating links, I can enable anyone reading from over the net to jump to wherever their interest takes them. A great deal of what I'm doing can be explained by jumping to the NCSA's, that's the National Center for Supercomputing Applications, homepage. This is where the research and development work for much of what goes on over the internet has been done. It's accessed by its unique name, which I have stored in a listing of my most frequently used URL addresses. By cruising around, I can not only learn how to do my job better, but I can also find out what the latest scoop is on the World Wide Web. An excellent example of a well-done web project was created by Adam Curry, a former VJ for MTV. His MTV.com, addressed as http://www.mtv.com, is known as a URL, or Uniform Resource Locator, which is the location address on the World Wide Web. This URL takes you to his homepage from any internet-connected source. This is one of the best displays I've seen of graphics and sound anywhere on the net. This may sound complicated, but it's really simple. All you need to do is point and click.
Now that we have a working knowledge of the Internet's most useful tools, let's take a spin around some of its more interesting locations. Because the larger contingent of established World Wide Web servers are government or educational sites, let's take a look at one. On the Indiana University homepage, you can drill down to government information, such as the Bill of Rights or the Declaration of Independence. Or perhaps you're a big fan of Comedy Central's Mystery Science Theater 3000, a show which roasts really bad movies. Well then, there's a World Wide Web server for you. Not only are the schedules available for when air dates are, as well as words to musical numbers done in the show, but you can even hear a mad scientist say,
"Push the button, Frank."
For an extensive directory of what's on the net, check out GNN's homepage from O'Reilly & Associates. It is divided down into a number of categories spanning a wide variety of interests. From the business side of the software industry, Spry, a company whose software we have used in many of the examples and whose specialty is Internet access and integration, uses their presence on the net to inform and provide service to customers, as well as provide a company profile and links to the rest of the Internet. This is just a taste of what the Internet and the evolving information superhighway have to offer. As you can see, with the Internet, a world of possibilities is now just a click away, limited only by your imagination.